What's up, my tubers? I just wanted to comment on this recent news item I discovered about the rock and roller Ariel Pink. If you don't know him, he's a rock and roller. He's kind of known for doing a lot of early, I think he did a lot of cassette releases in the maybe late 90s, early 2000s or something. I know him more from his post-2010 work, and I really like those last four albums. He did a lot. But recently in the news he came up because I guess he was not, now I guess there's a lot of controversy about this, but he was in Washington D.C. during the Capitol protests, and I think he went to the speech that Trump gave before the crowd went to the Capitol building itself. And from what he says, he was not in any way a part of the breaking and entering into the Capitol. But by association, he started to get a lot of backlash from his fans, and then I think initially he said that his label told him that they weren't going to drop him, nothing was going to happen. But then, like a day later, they did end up dropping him. I don't know the legality of that. That's not what I'm really concerned with, the law, legal machinations behind that. What is interesting is that well, it's just like what do you do when an artist you admire for their music and stuff like that does something like this? What do you do? Like, and in what sense? I don't know. Like his politics, does it to me? Like I'm still interested in his music, and I still admire those albums, and I'd still be curious if he does release another album. I mean, for me as somebody who likes his work, I guess my point of view is that like I saw an interview with him well before this, earlier in the year though, like last summer, when coronavirus was just kicking in. Well, not kicking in, but was like lockdowns had been in effect for a few months, and people were asking him, "What are you doing music-wise? Because you're not touring, obviously." And he said, "I'm not really doing anything." And to me, it was just kind of like disappointing because, I mean, I don't really go to a lot of concerts anyways, but once coronavirus, there was zero chance of me seeing him in concert. So like I was hoping maybe he'd be working on an album. That to me, that was like last year. Like if you're an artist and you can't tour, is the time to be making your great album. Like we should get all these wonderful albums this year that had been completed last year. That'd be like what every artist I think should be doing. But to hear that he wasn't doing that, and then to discover that he was just at this protest and so on, and that's fine. Like I wasn't totally aware of his politics, but like recently, kind of researching into it, like you hear that he was like very critical of climate change and COVID vaccines, very very doubtful, just very kind of at the fringe of right-wing stuff, and that's fine if he wants to believe that. I guess it's just, to me, it becomes less interesting when I hear he's not making music. Like I feel like anything that takes away from making great art is it's kind of disappointing to me. I mean, but like his politics, he can vote however he wants and so on. It's kind of like at what point do you have to drop? Like how in line does a person have to be before you can like accept that they're different? Like I can listen to Beck or whatever without being a Scientologist. I can I don't know if I enjoy Tom Cruise movies, but I could read Mike Allred comics. Like he's one of my favorite comic people, but he's also like pretty strongly Mormon. But I don't know. That's not. I don't really care about that as long as he keeps making comics, and he is, fortunately. So things like that. But I mean, in terms of like cancel culture, people have been talking about that. Okay, so there was also this interview recently with Ariel. I guess after the label kicked him off, he did an interview with Tucker Carlson on Fox News.
I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm going to do.
You had no choice, basically, if you want to tell your story.
I have no choice. I had no choice. There's nothing else for me to do. I can't even afford my lawyer right now.
First off, Tucker Carlson, I can't stand that guy. He's just, him and Sean Hannity, their whole sense of like outrage, and
they're sore winners.
I wish they had become actors. They would have been great comedic actors. Same with Bill O'Reilly, but instead they became pundits, which is like the most useless. I don't know. Am I a pundit right now just talking about things like this? But you know, like just the way that they do it, like this. If you watch that interview with Ariel Pink, I'll link to it below, the full interview. Just the way that Tucker Carlson frames things is just so nauseating to me. It's just like, oh, they did this. It's just like, so you could tell it's not his real personality, and he's kind of, anyway, I don't want to get into that. But anyways, if you want to watch that interview, it's kind of interesting because in some ways, like, I do feel kind of bad for Ariel Pink, but on the other hand, like, I don't think it's a total surprise that if he's doing political, you know, involvement that's so at odds with his fans, most of his fans, I'm guessing, it's not really a surprise that, you know, like, people have a right to purchase your stuff or be mad about it or not like it. I mean, for me, I don't really pay for music anyways, but I haven't paid for music in a long time. I did go to a concert last year, actually, before coronavirus. That's the closest thing. But it was like a classical music concert. But anyways, I mean, I don't know what the point is that I'm trying to go with this. With cancel culture, I mean, I guess like people, as they become more and more aware of other people's preferences and specific tendencies, you know, I think that's kind of like the age we live in of hyper personalization, where we can pick every app, pick every browser, and make our reality as manicured and as we desire. That when other people we feel are out of line with that, we want to like take away their livelihood or something. And that's your right, obviously, but the legal part about his label dropping him, I don't know anything about the paperwork behind that. That doesn't really interest me. I don't know, though. I think going on Fox News was clearly some kind of a ploy to get some kind of, you know, support from somebody, and that was the angle that he was going for, the reason that he went on there. I don't really think Ariel has much to worry about. All he has to do is set up a Patreon if he doesn't have one, and he was releasing tons of albums before he had a label. Like, he was very indie in his early days, releasing cassette tapes and so on. So he's a smart guy, and I don't think he has much to worry about if he just puts his mind to it. My advice would be to, if you're watching this, Ariel, is just to, you know, just stand back from the politics and just reinforce that you are against violence and we're not part of any part of the vandalism or breaking and entering, and that's not your thing. But just stick to music from now on, I guess, would be my advice. Yeah, I really do like his music, and it's unfortunate. I'm always disappointed when people start, I mean, there's political elements to all art, but when you're doing it, I don't know, at one point when you're just in a crowd demonstrating, that's, to me, not very artistic, but I guess it's what some people want to do, and it does have an effect. It does bring your awareness to an audience that just putting out an album doesn't. So, I don't know, it's a very sticky age we live in of cancel culture. What do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. I'm just spouting my thoughts and putting some ideas out there.